Good morning friends. Today we are starting chapter 12, that is atom. Now the introduction part of the atom. Now let us consider an atom model. Atom model. An atom model is one which describes or it includes the constituent of the atom. Or structure of the atom. We can tell that an atom model which describes the constituent of the atom or the structure of the atom. Now we can also tell that atom model indicates that it is, we can tell that it is an electrically neutral. And we can also tell the origin of the atom. We are including some points for the atom that we are considering. It is an electrically neutral origin of an atom, or we can also tell that it is also including stability of an atom. Stability of an atom. Okay, these are the some points which include in the atomic model. Now, the atom or the atomic model was described by Rutherford, Geiger and Marsden. They had given the experiment that we are calling as the alpha scattering experiment. Alpha scattering experiment. Now, by using this, we have to explain the alpha particle or the alpha scattering experiment. Now, next we are studying the alpha scattering experiment. This or the name we can tell that it is the Geiger-Marsden or the Rutherford experiment. Geiger-Marsden or Rutherford experiment. Rutherford. Now, in this we are considering the diagram. Now, let us consider the diagram. First, we are considering the scattering of alpha particles. Scattering of alpha particles. And here we are considering the lead plate. And here our alpha particles are moving. This is your lead plate. Here scattering of the particles which is made to pass through the lead plate. Here we are considering the gold foil. Considering the gold foil. Now it can move in different directions. It can move in different directions, and this green we are calling as the zinc sulfide. Zinc sulfide, or we can also use the microscope. This we are calling as the zinc sulfide and microscope. Here now, just we have to give the explanation here. Now let us consider the alpha particles of the radioactivity which is made to fall on the lead plate or which is made to pass on the lead plate. It will go and reach. It is moving in a straight line. It will reach the gold foil. When it is reaching in the gold foil, the alpha particles the alpha particles are moving in the different direction on the screen. This we can see by using your zinc sulfide, or we can see by using the microscope, and we can tell that the alpha particles are always moving in a straight line. The alpha particles can always move in a straight line. When it falls on the gold foil, it moves in different direction. That different direction we can observe by the zinc sulfide or by our microscope. Here we have to study some observation. Here we are studying some observation. We can tell that the alpha particles are always moving in a straight line. The alpha particles are always moving in a straight line. Now second one we can tell that, second point we are considering, or we are telling that only about 0.14% of the alpha particles which is incident is always more than the 1. Is always more than 1. Here only about we are considering 0.14% of the incident of the alpha particle scattering is always more than the 1 degree. Is always more than 1 degree. And third point we can tell that above 1 degree we are considering 8,000 incident particles of the alpha particle is always more than 90 degree. Is always more than 90 degree. These are the some observation we are studying in the Geiger-Marson or the Rutherford experiment. First one we can tell that alpha particles is always moving in a straight line. Now next, second one we can tell that only about 0.14% of the incident alpha particle scattering is always more than 1 degree. And last we can tell that about 1 degree of the 8,000 incident radiation of the alpha particle scattering is always more than the 90 degree. These are the some observation of the Rutherford experiment. Now next we are studying the derivation of an electron orbit. Electron orbit. Now in this, first let us consider Fc. Fc is the centripetal force. Next, Fe. It is an electrostatic force of the attraction. Electrostatic force of attraction. Now, the equation we are considering, Fc is equal to mv square by r, and we are considering Fe is equal to 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught E means electron by r square, or this can be also written in the form of E square by 4 pi epsilon naught r square. Now let us consider Fg and Fp. We can write Fg is equal to Fe. Centripetal force is always equal to the electrostatic force of the attraction. Next we can write Fg means mv square by r is equal to E square divided by 4 pi epsilon naught r square. Now some terms get cancelled. Cancel that. R get cancelled. The remaining term is mv square is equal to E square by 4 pi epsilon naught into r. Or we can find the value of the r. R is equal to E square divided by 4 pi epsilon naught into mv square. Okay, now here we are applying for the kinetic energy of an electron. Therefore, the kinetic energy of an electron is equal to, we know that formula, 1 by 2 mv square. We know the value of mv square. Mv square is equal to E square divided by 4 pi epsilon naught r. Just we are putting the value 1 by 2 into 4 pi epsilon naught, E square divided by 4 pi epsilon naught into r. Or this can be also written in the form of E square divided by 8 pi epsilon naught r. Now the kinetic energy is equal to, we are getting the answer as E square divided by 8 pi epsilon naught r. Now next, the potential energy. The potential energy of an electron we are writing as U. The potential energy can be denoted as U. U is equal to 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught into R. If one is positive and other one is negative charge, total we are getting as minus E square divided by 4 pi epsilon naught R. Now we have got the value of the kinetic energy and the potential energy. Next we have to find the total energy of an electron. The total energy of an electron can be written as T is equal to kinetic energy plus potential energy. Put the value of the kinetic energy E square divided by 8 pi epsilon naught r. Next, potential energy minus E square divided by 4 pi epsilon naught r. Now open the bracket, E square divided by 8 pi epsilon naught r minus E square divided by 4 pi epsilon naught r. Now next, calculation part. Now the total energy we are getting as T is equal to E square divided by 8 pi epsilon naught r minus E square divided by 4 pi epsilon naught r. Or this can be written in the form of E square minus 2 times of E square divided by 8 pi epsilon naught r. Now E square minus 2E square is minus E square divided by 8 pi epsilon naught r. Therefore, the total energy is equal to minus E square divided by 8 pi epsilon naught r. Therefore, the total energy is negative. The total energy is negative. Now we can tell that the negative sign indicates that it is the bond of the atoms of an electron. It is the bond of the atoms of an electron in a nucleus, and it is also a negative sign also indicates that it is very close. The atoms are very close. They are very close, and we can also tell that it is at stable orbit. It is at stable orbit. Here, now according to the total energy, we are getting the negative sign. That is minus e square divided by 8 pi epsilon naught r, where r is the radius and e is the charge we are considering. Now according to this, we can tell that total energy we are getting in the negative answer. This negative sign indicates that it is the bond of the atom, which is very close to the electron of an atom, and we can also tell that it is very close and it is always at a stable orbit. This is an expression, or this is the derivation for the electron orbits.